Oh, hi there. What's that? The internet? What exactly is it doing? Is it beneficial? Is it splitting us up as a society of humans? I'm so glad you definitely asked these questions, or else this script would have been for nothing. So hey, how did we get here? There's no doubt that as of now, the world is a mess. Politically, financially, and just in general between normal everyday humans. As of today, society is quite split with opinions, and one of the major reasons as to why this could be happening is because of the internet. One reason as to why this might be the case is because of something known as a filter bubble. In the most simplest definition, they are things that stop people from seeing certain kinds of information, usually to gain more engagement from said person. Often, this filter shows information that leans more towards the person using the website or platform, reinforcing their beliefs. This is dangerous because it makes it more unlikely for the person to listen or shift beliefs to an argument or belief that opposes theirs. This could incite things like arguments and ignorance. Of course, in a society where people cannot listen, it's not a society to really look up to. But the question still stands, is the internet really dividing us? Though I was yapping for a long time about filter bubbles, it's only one example of what the internet does that can split societies, and this is quite solvable, sorta, just by using critical thinking skills, which we'll get into later. One of the bigger reasons for society being a mess today is just the internet in general. The internet is massive, as you probably know, but the amount of freedom you have on the internet is more like a second life, but just more free. Often people abuse the freedom the internet provides. These people are often called, you know them, you love them, trolls. Often, a troll's activities usually come down to spreading misinformation, hate, or just bullying in general. Now, why does this really matter? They're just idiots with time to spare, right? Well, no, misinformation can harm beliefs despite being untrue. Countless times bullying has caused a lot of damage. I'm sure you can even remember some kind of story about online bullying. So the next time you play a game and you lose, let's be careful with the slurs, alright? Or else. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. In general, humans have become more reliant on technology and more comfortable gathering information on the internet, which, yeah, definitely works sometimes, but things like TikTok or AI are not the correct options to turn to. Don't get me wrong, sometimes there are genuine trustable sources there, but in the end, TikTok is not a website, it is a platform where anyone can post on, which more often than not means that the filter bubbles apply to it, along with just misinformation in general. Hi there. Platforms are often filled with harmful words and people, and the media especially loves to glorify celebrities with unreachable fame and wealth that we can't possibly compare ourselves to. And we shouldn't have to, because media often shows unrealistic dreams that often can make you feel lesser to an extent. It's okay not to look like this picture-perfect example of people like, I don't know, LeBron James. Remember, mental health is really important, so make sure you take care of yourself and stay safe, because I will find you. Now, from a basic viewpoint, the internet really just seems to be dividing us, right? But if you really think about it, the internet really didn't do anything. Everything I mentioned was all just made by humans. Misinformation, bullying, withholding information, etc. is all something that wasn't done by the internet. The internet cannot do all this without humans. And all of this mess is just our work. The world has always been like this. What the internet did was just make it more accessible. Blaming the internet for all of this misfortune would just be overlooking the real problem. Humans. Humans are often said to be the species that ruined the earth. And by looking at today, yeah, society as of today is a pile of dog shit. So, to answer the main question I'm going over, is the internet dividing us as a society? And ultimately the answer is no, but kinda. The internet is just making it easier for humans like you and me to communicate. So, does us being the root of the problems mean that there's nothing we can do? If you want the logical answer, we probably can't do much. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, some dudes are just not going to listen. Does this mean we should stop? Just stare into the abyss and soon be swallowed by the inevitable thought that the whole world will eventually come to an end and everything we know and love will disappear? Hell no. That kind of stuff sounds scary, bro. Don't get me wrong, the world will eventually inevitably be gone. But so what? That's like a millennia. And just because a few bad things are happening because of the internet doesn't mean that it's all bad. So if you're planning to live life, you're gonna do it the right way, right? The existence of us is also the testament of humanity, the proof that humans have survived. It's cool to be free. Like, with this freedom, I could, 3 seconds after the sentence, put a really scary jump scare. Ah, got you. Ha ha ha, silly. As I was saying, there are definitely ways we as a society can avoid all the negatives we have made ourselves. Like, for example, not being a dumbass, having critical thinking skills. Yeah, yep. So, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is the cognitive process to evaluate information, or in simpler words, looking at something fairly and forming your own opinion on it. Jesus Christ, sounds easy when I put it like that, but some people in this current society get information from TikTok. Why? You need critical thinking skills, in other words, to look through something and reasonably decide if that information is possible. Because otherwise, we're all just tiny little toenails stuck on a... What? Oh, hey, we're at the end segment. Yes, I've said it like twice. I'll say it again. Society of today is pretty messed up. The main point of this script seems to be lost, because even I don't know where it's going now. So in the final, Marshall McLuhan won. He was correct. The internet started off as something just meant to send messages to each other, and that impacted our communications. But when it just kept developing, we started to be impacted directly by it. We created it, and in turn, slowly enough, we began experiencing what the internet held, only in the real world. Online love became real, words inspired real people, insults hurt real feelings, and arguments became real violence. This tool has shaped us to become so beautifully messy, and I love it, because that's the most human sounding garbage ever.